Are we live? Mwahahaha. Hello, Heather. Welcome to the live scream.
Hi everyone. I'm in costume too.
Amber's in costume. She's just not feeling terribly well, so she didn't want to join us on camera. So welcome. Welcome to our October live scream. It looks like we have a lot of witches here so far. Screaming from Vegas.
So Brian, what monster are you?
I am clearly a sorcerer, which isn't an option. A witch? I'm a witch. He's a witch. Burn him at the stake.
I'm also a witch.
Yes, Amber is also a witch.
But I feel like that's my general vibe. Like of these, like I have a little bit of ghost tendencies because I can be kind of quiet and sneaky, like inadvertently, but more witch than ghost.
More witch than ghost. And Heather is a ghost. So I guess let's get started. Oh, we got 50-50. Somebody else has popped in to the chat to make it even more of a competition.
I don't know if it's a competition. It's just what monsters are we? This isn't like some match to the death.
And Mary's the witch. You and me both, Mary. You and me both. We're going to cackle our way through Halloween. Oh, and welcome, Zephyrin. You're a ghost. All right, folks. Our first letter on this October Halloween live scream is titled, Am I a jerk for kicking my maid of honor out of my wedding within 5 days' notice? I'm a 23-year-old female, getting married in a couple of days. Most of this is in the last 2 weeks. My maid of honor, a 26-year-old male, was in charge of planning my bachelorette party, which I wanted to be a surprise. We live in a city, but none of us live downtown, so I was hoping for a hotel room downtown and having a fun night out with the girls, maybe a brunch. Most of the bridal party lived locally, but 2 girls flew in for it. When Em picked me up 2 weeks ago on Friday, I was excited to see where we were going and what we were doing. We ended up going to Em's 1-bedroom townhome and spent the whole weekend there. There were 8 of us, so it was cramped, and we kept running into issues with only 1 bathroom. On Friday night, we had games and ordered pizza. Saturday, we had mimosa bar and went shopping, ordered food, and watched a movie before parting ways on Sunday. It wasn't the bachelorette party of my dreams, or particularly a fun weekend, but it was okay, and I appreciated it. Last weekend, my fiance, a 32-year-old male, Jay, had just returned from a work trip. I hadn't caught up to him to speed him up on the party because there wasn't much to report. But when he returned, we were chatting and I had told him about the party. He looked confused, but said nothing else that evening. The next day, I got a message from Em asking me to meet up and talk about something. Em revealed that Jay had given her a significant amount of money over a year ago, with the intention that it was to be used to pay for a bachelorette party. It would have been enough to pay for the entire bridal party to do a week-long vacation out of town, including airfare, hotel, food, drinks, and fun. I wasn't expecting this type of event. A weekend downtown would have been wonderful, and even though the party at her home wasn't what I had hoped for, it was fine because I got to be with all of my friends. She instead used the money to pay off her credit card debt and hoped that no one would notice. I told her that I needed some time to process and went home. After talking with Jay about it, I decided that the best action would be to remove her from the wedding. I came to this decision because I don't feel that I can trust her, and I don't want her to be standing next to me at my wedding. I slept on it overnight and sent her a text saying this on Monday. Since then, I have been getting texts from her mom and boyfriend telling me how awful I am for doing this since I didn't really need a big party and Em was able to benefit financially. My mom is also against removing her from the wedding, as she is like a sister to our family, and it would be tragic for me to get married without Em there. The rest of the bridal party is split, with half saying that I should have kicked her out, and the other half agreeing with me, or shouldn't have kicked her out. Em has called me crying because she already has her dress. Jay and I paid for all of the dresses, and she can't wear it anywhere else. At this point, I want the wedding to be over with so I can just be on my honeymoon and not have to deal with these people. Am I the jerk, or was I being too extreme? And folks, there is one significant detail. I'll let you all guess. How much money did she pilfer? Because this is in the comments. I'll let you guess that for a moment. And while Amber and I talk about this,
Yes. So yeah, no, I do not think OP is in the wrong here. I mean, I think the friend should just be thanking her lucky stars that OP isn't pressing charges and trying to get the money back.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
removing her from the wedding is perfectly acceptable because, like OP said, your maid of honor is supposed to be someone you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
And if she's willing to steal a bunch of money from you, it just does not a trustworthy friend make.
No, no. I also want to say hi, Morgan. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. But I agree with Amber here. I think that this is one of those situations where, I mean, how are you going to trust this person, right? I know that she's like a sister to you and all that kind of stuff, but it's just such a terrible situation. Even if your own sister were to steal money from you like this.
That would be a good reason to ask her to step down.
Yeah. So we have two guesses. One's $25,000 and one's $30,000. I'll say, Zephyrin, you're closer. It was $25,000, folks. $25,000. I mean, I guess if they're spending $25,000 on a bachelorette party, then think about how much they're spending on the wedding itself,
Yeah.
right? I am sure that they are not hurting for money, and so this is why OP is not pressing charges, right? So they're probably having like a wedding that's like 10 times that, if not more, right?
Yeah, so she did say in the comments that like her fiance had given away an amount of money that while he intended it to be used for the bachelorette party, it wasn't an amount that was going to hurt. So
Yeah.
if you can give away $25,000 and not have it hurt, they probably are having a very fancy wedding.
Yeah, it's like us giving away $25.
Yeah.
Sure, we can give away $25. It would be nice to have that $25, but it's not going to break the bank here, right? It's like $25 to these people. That's the sense I get from this. If you're not pressing charges over $25,000 worth of money stolen, then you have probably many more first world problems than the rest of us.
So in the comments, Mary says, "Ooh, yeah, that's a good reason to change the roster." And not the jerk, I'm curious what M gifted OP for the wedding. And then we had our guesses about how much, and OMG and wow for our responses. And then Mary says, "Bye-bye, best friend."
Yeah, I mean, how can you even keep your best friend along for this at that point in time, right?
And the worst thing is that OP's mom, I think this might come out in the comments, but she was like, at least M benefited from this. As it's like, well, of course, she literally stole the money. Yeah, the thief is going to benefit from stealing. That doesn't make it right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mary, I get the sense here that his time is worth more than $25,000 per hour. That's the real sense I get from this. Like, they don't want to take it to court because they don't want the drama of the court, and they don't
And also, OP's family would all out hate them for the rest of time.
So I just think it's one of those situations where if you can afford this and it's not that big of a deal, why didn't they just help her pay off her credit card debt to begin with if this was such a big deal for her, I don't know. I'm not saying that they should I'm saying they should spend their money however they want, but it seems like it was like way more generous than what they should have been here. I mean, I don't know how you don't press charges. Let's put it that way. But speaking of pressing charges, our next letter is titled, "Am I the jerk for buying the wrong candy?"
Ooh, Fried has a very different take on this story than I do.
We're about to see the hammer come down, folks. It's Halloween in a new house in a new town. We moved 5 months ago. I'm a 44-year-old male and my wife is a 47-year-old female, and she wants to hand out full-size candy bars so we can be the cool house. Okay, that sounds fun, I guess. As I do all the grocery shopping, I buy 24 Hershey bars, 72 sour straws, and 24 boxes of Good and Plenty's. I priced out on multiple websites and the grocery store before buying. I will also be picking up 10-pound bags of Tootsie Pops, Tootsie Rolls later in case we have a lot of kids, as I have been warned that we are in the rich people subdivision and there are a lot of kids that stop by. Maybe some lemon heads too, I don't know. My wife told me that I was a jerk for buying licorice Good and Plenty candy. but I disagree because one, licorice is awesome, and B, it's only like 10% of the overall candy. So Reddit, please let me know. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, pressing charges or not.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far, but I do think OP is being a little bit of a jerk here because his wife had a specific request. She wanted full-size candy bars, and then he got enough for 24 kids, but if this is a really well-off neighborhood, they're probably going to get hundreds of kids. And if he had an issue with like buying 100 full-size candy bars, which that is a big ask, he
Yeah.
should have talked to her before he just unilaterally decided to go with like the cheap, gross candy that nobody wants.
Yeah, I actually, I'm gonna agree with Zephyrin here. I like licorice, and I think licorice was a good choice, personally.
I do not think. I am with Mary on this.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna chime in here. I think that this is a situation where they probably could have communicated a little better, and I don't know if he's just not expecting what he's expecting exactly out of this.
Sounds to me like he's one of those price point people. Like he was trying to get the best deal, and there's a reason why the licorice is cheap because nobody wants to get licorice for Halloween.
Everyone wants licorice for Halloween.
No.
So, I mean, 25 full-size candy bars does seem small, right? I think like if that was your goal to get 20 to give out full-size candy bars, if they're in a big neighborhood, they're probably going to be expecting, like more than 25 kids. So I think that was probably a little bit short-sighted, but there's still time I mean, I guess there isn't really time to go buy more candy. Yeah, you probably don't have any time to go buy candy, OP.
Which, reminder, everyone, make sure you got your Halloween candy ready.
Yeah, because we're coming to your houses this year, so shovel the bags full of candy.
Yeah, we're getting rid of as much candy as we can. We
Yeah.
have like 2 giant bags of it plus all the toys.
Yeah. Amber, what do we have for comments here?
All right. Let's see. Mary says, "You're the jerk for a good and plenty right off the bat. Yuck." Zephyrin says, "Not the jerk. I agree with OP. Licorice is awesome." And then Mary says, "OP got the awe right." And then Zephyrin says, "But in seriousness, I know I'm in the minority here." Morgan says, "Not the jerk. I don't think it's a huge problem. Maybe she should have gotten the candy since OP doesn't have the best taste." And then Mary says, "Theirs will be the curmudgeon house. Next year he'll hand out the year-old candy." Yeah, they will be the curmudgeon house, which is exactly what his wife is trying not to do.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel bad for, like, yeah, maybe the wife should have gotten the candy, but it sounds like he's generally the person who does the grocery shopping and generally a responsible person. So.
Yeah. Speaking of being curmudgeons, our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for telling my sister to stay away from my baby?" Curmudgeon time, folks. We're going to take away all of the TikTok's fun. I'm a 20-year-old female, and I gave birth to my first baby 11 months ago. My boyfriend is a 21-year-old male, and I named her Abby. My mom let us live in her house so we can save some money. My sister Sierra, a 32-year-old female, is also here. She moved in 4 months ago because she has a new job set up. I don't know the details, but she's working online right now. She'll start going in person in a few months. I asked her why she chose to live here. She said that her workload is fairly light until she goes in person, so she wanted help with Abby while she can. My boyfriend and I work long hours, and Mom has health issues, so I was touched. She offered to babysit often. I don't have much, but I offered to pay for several times. She refused the money. Then in August, Sierra asked to take Abby to the lake for a day, and some relatives were there since they were having this since I don't know what they're saying there. My boyfriend and I couldn't go, so I trusted her and I said yes. She sent me pictures throughout the day. In the last picture, Abby looked miserable and wet. Sierra said that she waddled into the water with her and that she just needed a nap. Later, I was with my cousin's twin, 14-year-old male, and I saw the video that they were chuckling at. There's a TikTok where someone drops a baby off the dock into the lake with only arm floaties. The baby slips out and sinks. The video on my cousin's phone is Sierra recreating that with Abby. She dropped her into the lake at the end of the dock with only arm floaties. Her arms slipped through and she sank like a rock. My sister and cousins laughed for 6 to 7 seconds before the boys dove in to grab her. The water looked deep. They said that Sierra suggested recreating the video with Abby for laughs, and she knew Abby would sink. I confronted Sierra, and she made excuses that the boys were there to fish Abby out, so it was safe. Perfectly safe drowning babies, folks. She never apologized and called me a helicopter mom. I can't have a conversation with her without being cut off. She claims that she knew what she was doing and wouldn't put Abby in harm's way. Abby's in daycare again, and 2 months later, Sarah can't babysit her anymore. She shows no remorse. Her excuse is that she's been with Abby so often that she knows what is and isn't dangerous for her. She lost my trust, though. 2 days ago, she mentioned taking Abby to the park alone so that I could get a break, and I said no, and she got angry, snapping that she wants quality time with her niece, and I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I said that since she can't admit that what she did was dangerous, she should stay away from my baby. She left and texted Mom saying that she'll move out by next month. I'm beginning to feel a little guilty by now. Mom says I was cruel. It wasn't just her, but my cousins as well. She's not solely to blame, but I'm not harsh with them. They're dumb, impulsive teens. She was an adult who knows better. My mom is begging me to apologize and move on. My boyfriend agrees with her to keep the peace. My friends do as well. She loves Abby. Was I too harsh yelling like that? Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think of this one?
No, 100% not the jerk here. Like, there is nothing funny about drowning babies. Like, I know that she thought it was, oh, it's just a few seconds, but like, kids sink faster than you realize. And like, if anything were to go wrong,
Yeah.
like, she could drown very quickly.
Yeah.
But on top of that, even though she was fine, what about the trauma?
Yeah.
Like, you know, small children, if they're submerged in water, that could create like a lifelong fear of water, of people, like trust issues with people, like having your beloved auntie like drop you into this water and laugh as you sing.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly that it wasn't necessarily the best choice in the world, and I think that it's kind of a cruel thing to do to a child, right? And maybe they won't develop trauma, maybe they'll be just fine, but there's always a chance that that could happen as well, right? I mean, I almost drowned when I was a baby, and I mean, I don't have any lasting trauma from that, but also I was not like, I don't know, I'm not like, you know, it's not something that
Every person's
every person
different.
is going to be different, and every person is not necessarily going to react in the same way. And I think that that's really kind of important to keep in mind, that she may develop trust issues, she may develop other issues just because this is something that happened to her, right?
And like, I just don't even see why that would be funny to like like I cannot wrap my head around like how for a second that could be funny. But like, sister has demonstrated that she does not have the trust needed to watch a small child solo.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, do not let your sister around her solo again.
Yeah, until she apologizes at the very least. But what do the comments have to say?
The comments are pretty universal, not the jerks here. Safe fishing a baby out of a lake in time? Sure, gamble with my kid's life, from Mary.
Yeah.
Zephyrin says, Sierra and anyone who disagreed with my decision would never be unsupervised with my child again.
Yeah.
And Mary says, Sis may have had cousins around, but Sis was the one responsible. Yeah, she was the one who suggested it on top of that.
And she was the adult in the room, right? If you're going to be the adult in the room, then you're going to be the person who's taking the responsibility of things, right?
Like,
that's the way it goes.
If the 14-year-old had suggested it, it was her responsibility to shut it down. But no, she's the one like, yeah, let's drown the baby.
Yeah.
And then Morgan says, even with a full life jacket, no. And Mary says, hope OP saves a copy of the vid and shows it to her baby when occasions arise.
Yeah, look at what your aunt did when you were little. She tried drowning you.
For TikTok clout.
Yeah, for TikTok clout. So yeah, we're all being curmudgeons here. I can't believe us. I cannot believe us. And speaking of things that we cannot believe, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Cooking My Autistic Brother's Safe Food? My teenage brother came to visit me along with our dad. My mom joined in a couple days later all together, and they stayed for like a week. My brother is autistic, and he prefers just to eat fried chicken for every meal. He will have rice and some curries, sometimes two, but like 85% of his meals are fried chicken. I was making prawn pasta from scratch for my dad, and my brother asked if I could make him some because he liked the look of it. So I did. I have frozen chicken tenders in the freezer, so if he hates it, I could make those quickly, for what it's worth. My mom hates prawns, so they basically don't eat them at their home. She decided, though, that that means that nobody in our family likes prawns. Anyways, she arrives, and when she arrived, my brother started raving about the pasta that I made for them, and as soon as he mentioned that it had prawns in it, my mom lost it. She started yelling at me, saying that I was inconsiderate of my brother's needs, and that I should have just made him the fried chicken burger instead of trying to force him out of his comfort zone. It's been weeks, and she's still mad at me. Even more so today because apparently little brother asked her to get the recipe from me. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. Mom is definitely the jerk here. Like, it sounds like she's stifling his food exploration for her own convenience and because she doesn't like prawns.
Yeah.
Like, and it's fine if there are certain things that she doesn't want to cook, but to try and stop your child from expanding their palate because it's inconvenient to you is not a great look.
Well, and the way I look at it is like this. If OP had forced him to, it like
Mm-hmm.
strapped him to the chair and said, "Eat these prawns," right? Then
Mm-hmm.
that would have been wrong. But OP didn't even ask him. He asked on his own. He took the initiative. This was something that he wanted to eat, and OP had food available for him if he changed his mind, right? And he didn't take a prawn and then hate it and then OP say, well, you have to clean your plate or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, right?
Well, and I'm also like, it can be hard to get a balanced diet when you're on a limited diet. Like, I'm autistic and I have sensory issues with certain foods, and I had a very limited palate when I first moved in with Brian. But over time, we were able to expand my palate by, cooking foods in ways that were more preferable to me. And it can really help get in nutrients and whatnot to expand from just eating one type of food all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing is that you need to have a balanced diet and you need to be able to make sure that you're getting all your nutritional needs. And, if they're doing that at home, then that's fine. But the mother shouldn't be complaining that he's expanding his palate and having more foods that he enjoys. I mean, that's just the way it is. Maybe people have different tastes. Like, he likes seafood. Maybe he'll like more seafood. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's nothing wrong with them, expanding his food palate to enjoy those kinds of things. But it sounds more like she's just kind of being lazy here and she doesn't
Yeah.
really want to cook more foods. And maybe that's why he has such a limited palate to begin with.
That's how it strikes me. And maybe it's worth like reshuffling the chores in the household if she's really anti-cooking. I mean, it says the brother's a teenager, so maybe he's old enough to do some cooking. Maybe the dad can do some cooking.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be stifling his diet and just making him fried chicken all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
What do these folks have to say?
so Mary says, "How dare you expand your brother's taste choices?" Not the jerk. And Mom buys chicken in the bulk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Morgan says, "Not the jerk, wow." And Zephyrin says, "Not the jerk, Mom is being selfish here. Her convenience is greater than son's preferences."
Yeah, and that's what it seems like more than anything. It just seems like a convenience and out of more than anything. And speaking of convenience, our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for being the reason why the family vacation has been canceled?" I'm just being mean. It's of course
Boo.
reason. Boo, yes.
Boo Brian for being mean.
Okay, to make it short, I'm married for money. My husband is with me for appearances and we are happy with our arrangement. My husband and I married because I have all the qualifications to please his family and he takes care of the finances for me. We are very fond of each other and we love each other, but not in the classical sense of marriage. We are like amazing roommates with some benefits. He and I are free to live our lives independently without stresses. He is not worried about being cut off from his family, and I am finally financially stable, and I'm free to work my job that is simply not economically beneficial. The problem is this: my sister has never approved of my decision. They say that I sold myself, which is fair, but still, we used to be civil with each other. Last week we had a family barbecue. I went out with my husband. Everything was going great until my oldest niece, 21, sat down next to me and we started talking. And then she asked me straight up if I was with my husband for money. I explained to her how we met and our agreement and so on. She then asked me if I think that it would be okay for her to pretend to be her gay best friend's girlfriend. I told her that was up to her to decide, and if there was no negatives to it, like her having actual feelings for him, someone getting hurt like a romantic partner, etc., then it was a lovely talk. It was a lovely talk all in all. Strike two was apparently when my other niece asked me where my husband was, and I told them that he was on vacation. They asked me why I didn't go with him, and I said that we only sometimes go together on vacations. We usually take little trips together, but go on longer vacations with friends or family. My niece, 16, asked me if it was true what her mom and aunt said about me being a gold digger, and I just said, well, I guess so. Like, that doesn't faze me. I know my sister constantly talks about me behind my back, and I'm not ashamed about my marriage at all, so I see no reason to lie. Later that night, my sisters confronted me, or cornered me, and we had a fight about my words with my nieces. They said that it was completely inappropriate what I told them, that I am free to live my messed up life, but not to let my niece think that what I do is okay. I called them small-minded, and that I was only answering my niece's questions, and even then I was honest. They are free to make their own decisions. My sister kept cornering me, calling me all sorts of names, saying that I was basically influencing their daughters negatively because I was miserable. I said some words back and I left, not talking to them the whole week. Now there's a huge fallout because I pulled out of the family vacation because of this fight, but the vacation would be at my husband's summer home. And as I am not going, my husband doesn't feel comfortable lending the house to my family. My family has been calling me a huge jerk, and my sisters say that I'm blowing things out of proportion. Am I the jerk? Should I still go? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I mean, I don't think OP's being the jerk here. I think it's what did they expect was going to happen? Like, it feels like the whole biting the hand that feeds you. Like, they want all the benefits of OP being married to this rich dude while also bashing her every opportunity they get.
Yeah, I think that this is a complicated subject. I mean, certainly I can understand why the sisters would be uncomfortable with them having this conversation, but again, like I feel like OP answered their questions. They didn't approach the daughter, their nieces, and just start trying to like push them into their lifestyle type of
Right.
thing,
Well, and
right?
it sounds like it's because the sisters gossip about her so much, like that they even asked the questions in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, and June joined us. Hi, June.
Hi.
Welcome. So yeah, I think it's a difficult situation. I think it's touchy because there's always going to be kind of dynamics that are difficult for people to accept, and I think that OP isn't necessarily in the wrong for not going on the family vacation. I don't necessarily think they're wrong for being honest with their nieces, but I do think that it's a difficult situation. So I mean, I'm not blaming OP, and I think that it's something that they know that their mother is touchy about as is. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, throughout most of human history, marriages were, well,
Well, yeah,
were
yeah.
getting married, they were more of convenience most of the time rather than for love, securing family allegiances and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean that's very true too. And like for most of human history, things have been arranged marriages and for money and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's really not a my place to judge whether or not what OP is doing is right or wrong because I honestly think that as long as she's happy, then that's really all that matters. And as long as he's happy, it's not like he is unaware that she's with them for money, right?
Right, as long as they're both being fully transparent about why they're in the relationship and
Yeah.
what they're getting out of it, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. As for how much they should talk about it, I don't know. It does sound like the sisters brought it up first, though,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's just it. Is it just seems like one of those situations where the sisters have kind of like pushed this so much that maybe it's become a talking point to the point where the nieces are curious about it. They're like, and I mean, again, like the nieces even brought it up. My mom says this, and OP just answered their question. So it seems like in a lot of ways, the sisters have been the ones who kind of set up this situation to begin with.
All right, but you want to know the comments.
Yes.
All right, Mary says, live and let live. I wouldn't have made this info public knowledge, though. Everyone's the jerk. OP and the family need to expand their topics of conversation. And then Morgan says, Not the jerk, I guess, but what is going on here, lol. And then Zephyrin says, not the jerk, as long as what OP and her husband do works for them and no one gets hurt, I see no problem. If the family is uncomfortable with this setup, then they don't need to stay at OP's husband's summer house.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think everyone's kind of on the same page there. I think that's about reasonable. About reasonable. And
How's our poll doing?
how's our poll doing? Well, we have a lot of witches tonight. We're all witches, apparently, and some ghosts, some spooky ghosts and witches, but we have no vampires and
I
no
guess
werewolves.
I became a ghost briefly when I booed you.
Oh, I guess you did. Maybe that's.
Maybe I'm a ghost witch, a witch's ghost.
Maybe. And speaking of witches' ghosts, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Girlfriend She Embarrasses Me? My girlfriend, Amber, and I have a good relationship overall. Personality-wise, we get along great. Hobby-wise, is a big difference. Before I start off, I know I'm going on the, oh, then why would you be with her type of thing. And I ask myself this too, at times. But I just love her as a person, but she just embarrasses me. Amber is into odd things. She dresses every day like it's 1969. She wears clothes that are crazy in colors and patterns, and just overall not what people wear today. Her friends, along with other people our age, early 20s, all dress in recent styles and clothes and pants. Amber does not. One day, she wore this vest with a patterned shirt underneath and 70s looking pants at a store. As we were walking, people just kept staring. It makes me uncomfortable because in their head, they are probably like, whoa, is this chick confused on the year? Because I'm sure that's exactly what they think. Amber only listens to music older than my grandmother. This causes a disconnect with my friends. They will ask her who she likes to listen to, and she speaks the name that nobody has heard about. She does like more popular older bands, such as the Beatles, the Doors, and Jimi Hendrix. But it's very rare that people our age listen to that. Her apartment is all old. She has antiques of 70s ads, orange color wallpaper, couch rugs, and it just looks like a grandmother's house. She has old pinup posters of half-naked ladies. One day, she asked me if I wanted to invite my friends because her friends were coming over for a party. Politely, I declined. But then, she started asking why, and I told her that I'm embarrassed of her house. Into most of the population, it's just weird. I don't know, I talk to my friends and they say that they would feel the same. How about you? I don't want to seem like a jerk, but I don't know how I can bring this up to her and ask. Maybe we can find a compromise. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP's a jerk. What by compromise you mean make her change her sense of style, her house, her music taste to appeal to the masses? Like, this is her, she's allowed to have preferences that deviate from your own. Like, Brian and I both have interests that other people might find weird. Like, I do a lot of cosplaying, and there have been times we've walked down the bike trail and like I'm dressed like a princess, and sometimes you get weird looks, but never once has Brian been like, you need to dress more normal so that people don't judge you for it or something like that.
Well, and you get compliments too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
There have been people who've been like, oh, that's such a cute dress, or that's such a cute this or that, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, certainly, I think that if he's uncomfortable with this, then maybe this isn't the right relationship for him, because maybe they're doing each other no favors by being together, right? If he's embarrassed by this and he thinks that he's too worried about what other people think, then I don't know, maybe he has some growing up to do. It's not unnatural at, I think, what did they say, 20 or something like that?
Yeah, they're in their 20s.
You know, it's not unnatural for someone who's in their 20s to be really concerned about what other people think. And that's tends to be kind of the attitude. But most people in their life are just more worried about themselves and what other people will think about them.
Well, that's
than...
the thing. Is like worst case scenario, and someone does judge you, which like again, most of the time people are just kind of like, oh, that's interesting. They're not necessarily like, how could you do this? But like they'll spend 5 seconds and then that's that. Or maybe they'll relate to the friend, hey, I saw this person with the weirdest dress today, but like it's gonna be, a minute of their lives. It's not like they're gonna spend the rest of forever being like, could you believe that girl in the 70s dress? As
Yeah.
if the 70s.
What did she do? Step out of a time machine?
It's like I'm pretty sure no one is thinking that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just one of those things where most of the time it might come across as odd, but I mean, life sometimes is just so mundane and routine as is, and maybe it's sometimes nice to see something that's out of the ordinary,
Well,
right?
exactly. And honestly, like one of the advantages to getting older is just like letting, not that I'm like super old and can speak on that, but getting out of my 20s is like letting go of some of those insecurities and doing like embracing the things I love, even if other people might find them weird.
Yeah. What do folks have to say about this?
So Mary says 69 was an excellent year for fashion, which is a good point. And then, yeah, I agree. OP, why are you two together? It sounds like every aspect of the girlfriend bothers them.
Yeah.
And then Morgan says, you're the jerk. Everyone should be themselves and comfortable. And Mary adds, you're the jerk, by the way. And Zephyrin says, you're the jerk. Instead of trying to change his girlfriend, except they're incompatible. And June says, yes, definitely a jerk. Why are they still together?
Yes. And speaking of why they're still together, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Stealing from My 17-year-old Stepdaughter? I don't know, that didn't work at all. I was hoping that the transition would. I'm a 46-year-old male, and I've been married to my wife Amanda, a 41-year-old, for 6 years. When Amanda and I met, she had 2 children from a previous relationship, Chloe, a 17-year-old female, and Marcus, a 15-year-old male. Despite their father being absent, the children have never viewed me as a parental figure, which does not bother me, although I love their mother. I don't see them as my children or feel any love for them. They're good kids, they're just not mine. Earlier this year, Chloe expressed her desire to move out at the end of the year. I did not think that she could realistically afford to move out. Her mother and I both work long hours, so Chloe leaving would mean that I would most likely have to hire help or cut down my working hours, as she does a lot to help out at home, so her leaving would not be ideal. I handle all the household expenses, so in order to deter her from leaving, I suggested that we should try paying a portion of the bills/home expenses to get an idea of what living alone will be like for her. Her and her mother both agreed that this would be a wonderful idea, so I drew up an agreement that she would pay a quarter of the bills and the household expenses, and her mother and I would stop financially supporting her. I thought this would be enough for her to change her mind. However, she was able to afford this comfortably. I decided to lie to her and tell her that due to inflation, our bills and expenses had risen greatly, and she would owe me an extra $150 a month. My hope was that even if she could still afford to pay me, that she would be able to not be able to simultaneously save up enough money to move out. Recently, her brother Marcus was doing a school project that required him to analyze our family's electricity, gas, water usage, etc. I foolishly allowed him to access my study to look over our past bills. At some stage, he asked his sister to assist him in the work. When she was looking over the bills, it came to her attention that I had been overcharging her for some time. She worked out roughly how much money I overcharged her, and whoops, I lost my place. She worked out roughly how much I overcharged her and went to her mother with this information. They are now calling me a jerk for stealing her hard-earned money and demanding that I return the money. I don't think that it's fair to call her hard-earned money when most of it's inheritance from her father's passing. I had her best interest in mind and think that I was just teaching her how the world works by stealing from her. So am I the jerk? Edit. Thank you to everyone for your helpful suggestions. I will be putting the sum that she estimated that I overcharged her into an account, and I will tell her that I was saving it as a surprise. Oh yeah, what a slime ball. Hopefully she doesn't come across this post. I hope she does. A response to some common themes in the comments I would like to make clear is that I have never cleaned my home, and I will not be starting now. I do not like the noise of the vacuum or the smell of cleaning products. Maybe I went too far by saying that I have no love for my stepchildren. I want to make it clear that I like them and they're just annoy me as they're not my blood. He is the father of the year, folks. Edit 2, you all need to get a life. And edit 3, I aged down everyone for privacy reasons, which was my mistake. Many people are concerned Chloe is a minor, and I would like to make it clear that she is in fact older. However, still do not wish to reveal her age for anonymity's sake. Alright, folks, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, OP is a flaming jerk. Like, all I hear is me, me, me. I don't want to clean my house, so I make my stepdaughter, who annoys me because she is not my blood, do all this work, and I can't have her moving out because that would be inconvenient to me. So I'm just gonna pilfer money from her dad's inheritance.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, OP wanted to prove her a point that she couldn't afford to live on her own, and all he did was prove that she could live on her own. And are they compensating her for all the chores that she does around the
it
house?
sounds like no. It sounds like she just does it because it's expected of her, and that's probably part of why she wants to move out.
Yeah, maybe instead of like incentivizing her with billing her money to help her, you should have incentivized her to stay by paying her money to do the chores. I think that would have been a better way to handle the situation if they were worried about losing help around the house. It sounds like he's just really concerned about losing the ability to have his house cleaned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his big concern wasn't the welfare of his stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really rubs me the wrong way here. And then the whole, oh, I'll just hopefully smooth this over by pretending that I just had this in mind the whole time. Look, guys, I wasn't really stealing from her because I have the money right here, really. It's just the shell game, folks.
Yeah, I just hope that she moves out, that she reads this and moves out yesterday, because
yeah,
this is so gross.
It is. Like, who does this? And like, I mean, my kids are tolerable. I like them okay. I've been living with them forever, but they're okay.
It seems like his big gripe too is that they are not his biologically, and it's like, then don't marry don't marry a widow with children.
Yeah.
Like, so in the comments, first of all, Mary says, great segueing from topic to topic, Brian. June says, yes, he's a jerk. The only reason he wants to keep her there is because he is a selfish person, big time jerk. Mary says, 1/4 sounds pretty steep, and to lie on top of it, OP was not cut out for step-parenthood. Ha, so glad OP was caught. OP is in no position to lecture on what is fair. Zephyrin says, this OP is awful. Morgan says, you're the jerk. Wow, training for scummy landlords? That's terrible. And then Mary says, yeah, hope she reads Reddit. You're the jerk. What a major jerk. And then cute spiel. I can never say spiel. It's the
cute spiel. Yeah,
the round Pokemon. Wow, these kind of people are such a yikes. Always obsessed with blood ties.
And welcome to the live stream. Yeah, and I agree on all that. And speaking of training to be a scummy landlord, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my vegan sister that she can't serve only vegan food at our family reunion? It didn't work. I thought it might work, but it didn't work at all. Hey all, I'm genuinely torn about this and I need some clarity. Every year our family has a reunion where different members host. This year it's my younger sister's turn. She's been vegan for about 3 years and is quite passionate about it. We all respect her choices and make sure there are good varieties of vegan options whenever we have family gatherings. When she announced that she'll be hosting, she also said that the entire menu would be vegan to align with her beliefs and that it's a chance for the family to try something different. Some family members were excited, but others, including many other older folks, were pretty upset and felt like they were being forced into her lifestyle, even if it was just for one meal. I spoke to her privately and asked if she would be open to include a few non-vegan dishes for those who aren't keen on a fully vegan menu. She got quite defensive, saying that it was her chance to showcase veganism and that for one meal everyone can give it a go. I respect her beliefs, but I also think that forcing an entire family to adopt her choices, even if just for one meal, isn't fair. She is now upset with me for not being more supportive and says that I'm not respecting her choices. Am I the jerk? Update. Wow, lots of good thoughts. Just thought that I would answer a couple of questions here so that they're not lost in the comments. There is no set rota. The hosting goes wherever. I think they mean set role. I'm not sure.
Rotation.
Rotation. The hosting goes to whoever wants to host / hasn't hosted before. In this case, she wanted to host. We managed to come up with a compromise where people can bring their own food as long as it doesn't contain meat, which I think is fair. Just for some more context, she works at a well-known UK fast food place, so has no issue with handling and preparing and serving meat. Although I get that this can be different at home. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think OP was a bit of a jerk here. She's the one hosting, and I think there's a difference between doing something for your job and like buying meat to prepare for other people. And it's one meal. Like certainly, if this was like everyone who is like in my household now has to be vegan, like and with no one else's consent, that wouldn't be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with having one vegan meal. As long as there's things that can accommodate everyone's dietary needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's fair. I mean, I can certainly understand people being, because there are people who are passionate about eating meat, and I certainly think as long as it isn't a dietary restriction type of thing, because there are some people who do have certain problems with certain foods, and as long as those are accommodated for here, it's not like this is going to be the biggest deal in the world. I think the more important thing is spending time with family, right?
Yeah, and I think letting people bring their own food is a good compromise there.
And I mean, certainly, I know that being a vegan isn't for everyone, and there are certainly also like health concerns. Like you really need to work hard to balance your diet correctly when you're vegan, and that as long as she's doing that and is working with a dietitian to ensure that her dietary needs are met, then there's probably not going to be anything wrong with that, right? And I think though, like it doesn't seem like it's a harmful thing for one meal, and I'm sure that it's not really going to make or break the family bonds or relationships, right?
Right, hopefully. I mean, but some of these stories you read them and people are so outraged about not having, meat or something like that then it's just utter chaos and everyone hates everyone from there on out.
Yeah, I mean, certainly.
It's Reddit. Anything could happen.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll come back in a few months and
there'll be an update and like the entire family dissolves.
Yeah, they burned her at the stake.
And in the comments, first of all, June says, "It works, you rock, Brian." So people are loving your segue.
Oh, great. I'm glad to hear that.
Mary says, "Somebody's going to show up with a couple of cartons of In-N-Out burgers." June says, "It is only one meal. Suck it up. She's the jerk." Mary says, "UK, so won't happen at Thanksgiving, LOL." Zephyrin says, "OP is the jerk here. If sister is hosting, she can serve what she wants, and she's compromising by allowing people to bring their own food. It's one meal." And June says, "I'd love an In-N-Out burger." Morgan says, "You're the jerk. They must have known or had an idea she wouldn't prepare meat. Oh, well, I don't know if she'd done it before, but it's just one meal." And then there's some more conversation around In-N-Out burger, which I don't think we have in this area.
No, we don't have In-N-Out burgers here. That's really confined to the Western United States, but they're okay. I mean, I've had an In-N-Out burger before. They're okay. I like them. So, speaking of things that are okay, which aren't okay at all.
Yeah, that's
our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for not making my daughter apologize to a girl that she bullied in front of their class?" My daughter is 8, and she started at a relatively new dance school a few weeks ago, and she is in the 6 to 8 years old ballet class. Last week, a little 6-year-old joined. Let's call her Abby. Abby is incontinent. Her mother is very vague about it, but she said it's due to an illness. On Abby's first day, the teacher brought her up in front of the class and explained that their bodies tell them when they have to go to the bathroom, but Abby's doesn't, so she has to wear a diaper. She told them that if Abby has an accident, that they're not allowed to laugh at her, and they don't need to say anything to her about it. So she will go change and join the class like normal. Abby had an accident, and apparently my daughter laughed at her when she was leaving the class. That's when they had a water break, and the teacher said that my daughter loudly told Abby not to drink anything so she doesn't pee again. My daughter was kicked out of the class, and I was later told by the director of the dance school that bullying is not tolerated and that my options are to have my daughter apologize to Abby in front of the class, or we leave and we don't get a refund. I told them that my daughter will not be apologizing in front of the class and that she is not a bully, but they said that if this is the case, we are not welcome to take the classes with them anymore. The other moms in the class side with the studio director, and my husband is thinking that we should reach out and see if she could rejoin the class if she apologizes because she liked the class. I think making her apologize in front of the class is just to humiliate her, and don't want her to do it, but everyone is against this on me. Am I the jerk for not wanting to let the dance studio humiliate my daughter? That's right, folks. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, OP is a major jerk here. First of all, your daughter did bully the other kid. Like, talking about humiliation, like, they were specifically told, do not bully this child for her medical issues. And what does OP's daughter do? Not once, but twice.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, like, this could have been a learning moment, and they could have sat down with the daughter and they could have said, look, sometimes people are different and sometimes people have medical conditions, and that you don't make fun of them just because of those medical conditions, right? And yet they didn't. They were like, and even the dad, like, everyone is against OP, right? But her precious baby just cannot do any wrong. And this is the start of a golden child. This is the start of the golden child scenario, folks.
Entitled kid.
Yes, she's gonna be entitled, and she really just needs to learn how to be a nice person now, and apologizing is a good way to start on that. Right?
I mean, there's nothing humiliating about acknowledging that you were wrong and you made a mistake.
Yeah. And certainly, like, this would be a good opportunity to talk to her, befriend her, maybe even invite her over for, like, lunch or dinner or something like that, just so that your daughter can learn to be more friendly with people, right? And again, like, this is a medical issue. It's not anything that this little girl can help. It's just the way it is sometimes, right? And I mean, it's unfortunate, right?
Well, and what other kids is your daughter gonna pick on? That you're just gonna, like, I just see this little girl, OP's daughter, growing up to be a bully if, she's allowed to pick, continually has no consequences for picking on other children. Like, I'm really glad the school is standing up and saying, either you apologize or you can't come back here. And
for sure. I mean, I think the school is doing the absolute right thing. And everyone, again, like, everyone but OP sees this.
Yeah, well, and it's unfortunate that OP's husband is only like, oh, well, we should go along because everyone else says so.
Yeah, and folks, I want to say, I want to give a life tip here, not for you folks, because I think you are all aware of this, but if everyone else around you seems to be the problem, then maybe it's you who is the problem, in fact.
Yes, so in the comments, after our comments about In-N-Out and Whataburger, which we also don't have here in our neck of Maine, we have Burger King.
We have Burger King.
Then we have Zephyrin says, you're the jerk. How are you not? Your daughter bullied poor Abby and it would do her well to learn a lesson. June says, yes, she's a jerk. Yes, absolutely, Brian. That is what I was thinking. Morgan says, you're the jerk. Oh, geez, hopefully she'll learn one day. And Mary says, you're the jerk. Mothers like OP should have mandatory compassion classes before daughter gets to resume with the class.
Yeah. And folks, I just want to make an announcement. We have one vampire in our midst. Speaking of vampires, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk? Got telling my husband is much fatter than me, and he can eat the healthy fast food. This is driving me insane, and I'm wondering if I'm overreacting, so I'm posting here, also on phone. I've had a bad day, and I got a call that my husband was going to grab takeout and asked what I wanted. I wanted fried chicken sandwich. When he got home, he got me a grilled version. I asked him why, and he told me that he was looking after me and my weight. I admit it, I lost it, and I pointed out that he is much fatter than I am, and that he is the one with the gut. I took the fried sandwich, and I took a bite. This resulted in a huge fight, and he called me a jerk and left. Update, he found the post, and we are going to have a long talk. I hope you do. I hope you have a very long talk. All right, folks, what do you think of that?
Yeah, no,
Rude.
that is so rude of him to do that. Like, if someone asks you for, like, if you ask someone what they want and then you decide to, like, override their decisions and for them, like, that's just not cool.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. It's like if she had asked him to be like, "Oh, can you make sure that I eat more healthy
Mm-hmm.
and blah blah blah," then that might have been a completely different situation,
Mm-hmm.
right? But this was completely unprompted. They're not on like a health journey together. They're not trying to lose weight, and trying to watch each other's back and type of thing,
This
right?
is him just deciding out of the blue, I'm gonna put you on a diet because that's what I want.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a real not a good place to be in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in those cases, it gets to be like adversarial at that point in time. You're no longer a team. You're no longer working together. You're instead like fighting against each other, and like he's just treating her like she doesn't know what she wants.
Well, it's infantilizing, you know.
Yeah,
It basically he's acting like I know what's best, like you were saying, and
yeah, yeah,
exactly she can make her own choices what she wants to eat,
yeah.
and so
And that's really what it boils down to. Like he married a person, and they should just be respecting each other's, preferences here, right? So what does everyone else have to say here?
June says, "Yikes! I don't think she's the jerk." Mary says, "Not the jerk. If weight is an issue, hubby should have driven through salad in the box." Well, that's true. Like, is if if he wants them to go on a health journey, he can buy from healthier restaurants. He's
Yeah,
the one who chose the fast food
yeah,
place.
exactly.
Zephyrin says everyone's a jerk, no mutual respect for each other. What he did wasn't cool at all, but her comments weren't very nice
No,
either.
I mean I think that's fair. Like being she is being mean here too, right?
Right, but I also feel like she's just frustrated and upset with him for making this decision for her. I'm not
Sure.
saying that you should be rude back, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's some of it is like the incivility, and sometimes it can be just really hard to like not be incivil, but that's part of being an adult is actually being a civil individual and you know confronting situations in a with the high road, right?
although, like, I mean, I don't know that I would respond with the high road if you were to do this to me. I would probably just like grab the food I wanted and then just like cry into my nachos eating them or something like that.
Yeah, Amber would cry into her nachos. You heard it here first, folks.
Luckily, Brian has never done this to me. And so then June also says she's a grown woman and can eat whatever she wants. And Morgan says, not the jerk, that's pretty mean. And Mary says, hubby had time to plan his speech. OP was reacting.
So that's that. That's that. I think that makes a lot of sense. But it's tea time, and then we'll read one last story. We'll end it on. We've picked out a story
Mm-hmm.
to end it on, and I will start a quick poll for tea. It's going to be called tea. Earl Grey. We have licorice spice. And then we have Mega Mint. And I'm just abbreviating these so that you folks can start the poll. Why are you doing this to me? Start the poll. Start the poll. See, a lot of good witches here today. We're all witches, folks. We're all witches down here. Oh, we have one Mega Mint.
All right. Do you want a joke?
Yes, we want a joke. We demand jovial Bobstein jokes.
What kind of grades did the Headless Horseman get?
I can tell you exactly what kind of grades the Headless Horseman got. He got straight A's because all of the teachers were frightened of him.
Incomplete.
Incomplete. No, the Headless Horseman does not get incomplete. He gets straight A's, and because Ichabod Crane, who is a teacher, could not finish grading him because he ran away. That's what I have to say on that matter. All right, what do we got for the breakdown so far? We have some Earl Greys. We have some Mega Mints. Nobody is feeling in a licorice spice mood. We have a Key Lime Pie Bubbly. That sounds delicious. Mary has a Diet Coke. June loves the jokes. Jovial Bobstein, he is a very silly man. That's what I have to say. And I think that we are coming to the end of it. We will give people another second to respond, but I will say The Earl Greys have it. I indeed have Earl Grey tea. So, good job. I don't know how many people were actually guessing on that.
I cheated.
Oh, you cheated. Amber cheated,
It
folks.
wouldn't move the poll until I voted, so I looked at your tea
Oh,
tag.
I see. Yes. So let this all be known. It's on public record now that Amber is indeed has cheated
At guessing your tea.
at
Yes.
guessing tea. Yes. All right, folks. Our last letter on this not Friday. I was gonna say Saturday morning because I'm in the habit of recording on Fridays. It's titled, "Am I a jerk for refusing to share my recipe for my chicken sandwich with my sister when she told me that she wasn't going to put pickles on it?" For background, I love fast food, and it's pretty universally accepted that Popeye's spicy chicken sandwich is the best fast food item that's ever been created. Let me know if you folks agree on that.
Never had it, but I don't think it would be my cup of tea.
However, because fast food has gotten so expensive, I decided to try and make my own duplicate recipes so I can enjoy the food that I like on my budget. It took a few tries, but I also made spicy chicken sandwich, and now I've perfected it. Literally, everyone tells me it's better than Popeyes. Go into business. Sell your sandwich. Become a millionaire. I am very proud of it. Like thinking about creating a food truck, then maybe a restaurant. I'm so proud of it. Well, I guess they're on like the same wavelength as me here. My sister asked me for the recipe because she wanted something for her kids at the travel baseball game. When I got the type of pickles she needs, the first thing she said is that they don't have a Costco membership, so I said that was no problem, I would get them for her. Then she said that it was okay for her kids because they didn't like pickles, so she would leave them off. I explained to her that the pickles provide a salty, sour, crisp counterbalance to the spicy umami of my sauce. She said it's okay, the kids aren't that sophisticated. I said that it's too bad because my recipe and the enjoyment of it are that sophisticated, and I don't work to make it perfect so that she could modify my vision. She asked me if I was serious, and I said yes, I was completely serious. She said maybe she could just try it. I said no, that there are plenty of dupe recipes out there and that she can Google them. She asked if I was really this petty, and it sounds like this to that I said that it sounds like this was the homecoming dress situation all over again, and she said that I was a major B to even bring up that, and clicked off the call. While I may not be the jerk, it's my recipe, my vision, and potentially my future, and I have the right to keep its integrity. Why I might be the jerk. I could have just given it to her and moved on. We probably won't speak at least for a year over this. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna say OP's being a bit of a jerk here. Like, sure, it's your recipe, but it's a Popeye's chicken sandwich dupe. This isn't like the Krabby Patty secret formula over
I mean,
here.
it is the Krabby Patty secret formula. Where is Plankton when you need them?
Once you give out a recipe, like, it's however people can modify it however they want. Like, it's not like recipes are never changed or are held in like static state. Like, OP was even demanding a specific brand of pickles.
Yeah.
Like, it will not hurt anything to have grocery store pickles or no pickles. Like, you seem a little too invested in the preserving the integrity.
I mean, I can certainly understand having an artistic vision. I'm not saying that that isn't something that people can't have, but I think that maybe this was going a little too far here. And I think that OP has to understand that kids are going to be picky, and sometimes they're not going to want to have things a certain way. And I mean, this is all over pickles. I mean, OP claims this is all over pickles, but what it really sounds like to me, if you really want to know what I think about this, I think that OP really had no intention of giving away this recipe. I think they didn't want to. I think they kind of view this as their golden ticket, and they're like, oh, if I give this recipe away, then my sister will give it away, and then I'll lose my ability to sell this sandwich, right? And so I think that she's just having second thoughts about it. I think that this is just kind of an excuse more than anything.
Or she might be afraid that, like, what if the other version is better, or what if there's another version that they confuse for my version, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think that there's something off here. I think that OP is kind of like being in this like mindset there. They think that this is the perfect thing and that they are just like wanting to protect their intellectual property now.
And June says, yes, because I don't like pickles. Mary says, not the joke. That's what Sis gets for making her ill intentions known. Kids will have to settle for the delicious Costco hot dog. Cute Spiel says, take it easy, man. OP sounds so egotistical. Mary says, would love to hear about the prom dress. June
I
says,
know. I want to hear the prom dress story
yeah,
too.
same. June says, I'm petty, but this is ridiculous. Zephyrin says, wow, OP is being super petty, and Costco hot dogs are another delicacy I don't get to partake in. Only Sam's Club's around here. Yeah, we have Sam's Club. We also have BJ's now.
Yeah, we have Sam's Clubs, we have BJ's, and that's about it for like
Yeah.
those big bulk stores.
Not that we haven't been to either of them though in a
No,
long
we haven't.
time. Mary says, ooh, never intended to part with the recipe. Good call. Morgan says, you're the jerk. It'll probably burn their little unsophisticated mouths. JK, it's just pickles. If she already has the recipe, she can change it for her kids. Hopefully she doesn't give it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all really pretty solid. I think we're all in agreement here. And speaking of being all in agreement here, I didn't change my live stream. I'll change it in front of everyone. It's November 24th. Why are you not working here? Why is this not working? 1 second, folks. I need to edit this.
Oh, it's probably Black Friday.
Oh, is it Black Friday? Maybe we will not be having this on Black Friday. Yeah, I mean, apparently for whatever reason I can't actually edit my text at this moment here. But why don't we change that? Why don't we not have it on Black Friday, because people will probably be shopping on Black Friday.
I mean, by that point in time, everyone's going to be home and exhausted.
Well, but you know, the people time zones.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so like I think that that's going to be like 3:00 p.m. for some people on the West Coast there.
Yeah, but if people do Black Friday shopping, correct me if I'm wrong, like, wouldn't you already be home? But like, don't people like go out at like midnight or something? And
I'll let you
everyone
folks
will be
decide.
sleeping though. They might sleep through the live stream.
I'll let you folks decide. Do we do Black Friday for our live stream? We'll end this poll. Let's see. Poll Black Friday. If not, then we can just like push it to Saturday. That's my thought. We are getting yeses. Yeah, I mean, it seems like no one has said no. No one is like crying out with despair about Black Friday. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, I mean, everyone seems on board with that. All right, then Black Friday it is. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Amber, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm always glad to join in these.
Amber's like sitting over in the corner. She wasn't feeling very well, like I said earlier. And so she's just kind of like chilling out. She didn't want to be on camera, which is fine. But she is dressed up. She has a costume.
Yes, yeah. So for the latecomers, I do indeed have a costume. The same costume you saw on the title card, except I was wearing it backwards in the title card, so.
Oh, shopping on Black Friday is despair. I agree with you, June. It's terrible. I don't know who does it.
I used to do it as a kid, but like would get up at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Go out at 7. We wouldn't go out at the really early hours.
Not that I'm saying that anyone who does it is bad, mind you. I'm just saying like it takes a different type of person. Like you gotta be solid to go Black Friday shopping.
It's not so bad in Bangor, Maine, though.
It's madness. It is madness. I personally don't like crowds, and
Yeah,
so
I don't do it these days, but you know, when I was a teenager, I'd go with my mom and sister. It would go to like the Bangor Mall and some stores around there. I got a little mini Christmas tree from AC Moore.
Yes. So thanks so much for watching, and I guess we'll see you all tomorrow, though. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you later.
Bye.
And June says she's sorry you're not feeling well.
Oh, thank you.
Bye, Morgan. Bye, Mary. Bye, Zephyrin. Bye, June. Bye, Cute Feel. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll catch you all tomorrow. Oh, bye, Danielle. We'll let the last folks kind of shuffle out here, and then we'll end the stream.